To create animation in After Effects, you need to make keyframes. First, I'm going to rename our composition by going to Composition, Composition Settings to bring up the Composition Settings window. You can change any of these properties after you start working on a composition. I'll call this one Keyframes. You can also rename anything in the project window by selecting it and pressing Return to bring up the text editor. That goes for layers too. Select the layer, press Return to bring up the text editor. I'm going to use this circle to demonstrate keyframes. In frame-by-frame animation, if I wanted to move this circle from the left side of the screen to the right side, I would first draw the start position, then the end position. But then I would have to go in and draw all the positions in the middle of the action from the start to the end. As you can imagine, this is very time-consuming. On the other hand, in digital keyframe animation, keyframes are markers or reference points for actions. This means that I can move this circle left to right with just 2 keyframes, or reference points. Click on the position stopwatch to make your first keyframe. Only use the stopwatch to create the first keyframe on a property line. If you click it again, it will erase your keyframes. I will hold down Command and Z to undo. I'm going to use the blue position text on the X or horizontal axis to move the circle to the left-hand side of the screen. You can move the circle in the Composition Preview window with the Selection tool, but I want to be precise and only move it along the X-axis, so clicking and dragging on the numerical value is best. I can also select a number and enter in a value. Now, move the blue playhead to a different position in the timeline. If you don't move the playhead, then you're simply changing the first keyframe to a new value. Click on the diamond shape on the Position property line. Now I'm going to move the circle to the end point. To preview the movement, move the blue preview bar to the desired area. Then press the space bar. By default, this will loop your action. Press the space bar again to stop. To preview, you can also use the preview window. If you don't see it in your right-hand side menu, then go to Window, Preview. I'm going to move it to the top of the stack so it's easier to see. This menu contains lots of information about your playback, and at the top has icons for play stop and forwarding and rewinding the playhead. Now, here's a little quiz for you. How would I change the speed of this action? Think about it for a second. To change the speed of a movement, change the distance between the keyframes in the timeline. So, to make the movement quicker, move the keyframes closer together. This means it takes less time to cover the same distance. To make the movement slower, move the keyframes further apart. This means it takes more time to cover the same distance. In After Effects, you can pretty much keyframe everything, from the attributes on layers to effects. Keyframes are the basis of all change in the program.